Welcome to Tech Times Daily. And today we'll be diving into AI and its intersection with the spread of misinformation. I'm Chris, and with me, as always, is Christian Tejedes. Christian, how's it going?
Yeah, fairly decent. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. So, yeah, AI and misinformation. We recently covered on Tech Times that OpenAI, which is, as most of you may know, the creator of ChatGPT, have reportedly delayed its general release of a voice cloning tool due to worries that the technology might pose a new threat in misinformation during this year's upcoming US presidential elections. Um, so the new program can reportedly create a realistic voice clone of anyone with just 15 seconds of audio recording. It was actually
Yeah.
created in 2022 and was utilized for Chat GPT. Um, but now people are very,
Would
very worried.
would this would this also be taking jobs away from Trump impersonators?
Yeah, I think I think Alec Baldwin's
Like,
already lost his job. So
I pretty much in terms of voice impersonations for the two candidates that we have now, it's pretty much a low bar, I think.
right,
So
yeah, but I mean,
what's the worry about this again?
like, what do you think? Um, do you think people really are like that gullible, right?
Yeah, the sad thing about this is it's not good just gonna be limited to the elections. Like I can think of a couple people's grandparents that's gonna be scammed by Indian call centers using this over the next couple of years. So it is quite serious, laughable at most, but if you think about it, there are video AIs right now generate realistic, almost realistic scenarios. Like we've discussed one before in one of our episodes. So yeah, so in terms of this election, I don't think it would be that big of a problem, but I understand why they're very cautious with this one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is this like if I feel like if they are admitting that this technology can influence an election, then isn't that kind of a byproduct, like admitting that social media in general,
I feel
misinformation?
Yeah, I feel like the entire news is just simply a humble brag from them. Like our AI is this accurate that you need to ban it. Like,
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, it's like, oh, look what we can do.
right? I don't think they would be banning something that's pretty much defective at this point. Like if your AI is pretty not accurate, why
Hmm.
even advertise it? Why even
Right.
market it? So you would want it to be accurate. Why even make it in the first place?
True. 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 Well, like what do you think? Well, how can policymakers and like tech companies, like how can they even work together? Because this is eventually, if you don't do it now, then I mean, what are they going to never release it? They delay. I mean, they're delaying the inevitable. So like, how could they even mitigate this? Like, it's
Yeah, it is hard to grasp how they can actually, I hate this term, police it, but call a spade a spade. With the creativity of people, by the way, no matter how foolish their intent is, people are creative. They can find ways to use it. Even if they make stipulations regarding which field can actually utilize this program, people can
Mhm.
find loopholes on how to access it and make the use of it a bit more legal than what is stipulated. Like they could provide safeguards using laws, using bills, but having all tech companies just fall in line, we've been trying to do that for the past couple of decades now, and it's actually not that simple. Although we're facing industries with similar type of tech,
Mhm.
they have different algorithms. So you're gonna have to rein them in individually and post different types of stipulations regarding their technology. Facebook Twitter, Instagram, and let's add in Truth Social for Trump. Okay, so all of them are considered social media, but not every one of them operate the same way. I think pretty much the same could be said for this voice AI. Sooner or later, another company would come up with a similar thing, and it could be on a different level. So I think policymakers should have to anticipate the switches and the elevation when it comes to these kinds of tech. The
Right.
purpose right
Okay.
now they see is just for elections, but I see this mostly as being used like day-to-day criminal activities.
True. And I mean, okay, and in defense, well, maybe not in defense, but in all fairness, according to OpenAI, the voice engine generations have watermarks, that the company can identify the source of any audio produced. And as of right now, OpenAI claims that its agreements with these partners actually need the original speaker's clear and informed consent, and it forbids developers from creating mechanisms that let specific users, generate their, these, unlicensed, I guess, voices. But I think, that's all fine and dandy until, because, and I understand that, like, right now it's like elections, right? Like, oh, this president said this, or this challenger said this, or and it could definitely sway people. But I mean, on a broader scale, this thing could start a world war.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, especially now, as good as the AI videos are and the voices, and
I think just about any meme online could actually start a war.
yeah, fair
Right.
enough. Fair enough. Yeah,
So people have been in a hair trigger for the past couple of years now just because of the internet, how volatile it could be. Like
right.
someone could just post Kim Jong-un, or who was that president that actually hates Winnie the Pooh? Was it Xi Jinping of China? Yeah,
I
actually
haven't heard
banned
about this.
images regarding Winnie the Pooh. Like imagine someone actually using his voice and superimposing it on Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, yeah, yeah. You
It,
definitely, yeah. He'd launch a missile or
people could
two.
be beheaded for it.
Right.
So like
But
there are damages from this. But
so I mean, do you think this is just postponing the inevitable?
I think so. We've said the same thing regarding Chat GPT and how it can take over jobs. And I think pretty much some jobs are actually dependent on it now. And I can assure you that a couple in the education field are actually depending on this for their grades and their tasks. So there will come a time when this will just be the norm regarding we do have AI or text to speech AI now, right? The ones doing the ad blurbs.
Right. And yeah, and there has been cases where that's already happened, right? Like
Yeah,
uh some examples of I know the cases of AI giving false information
yeah,
during like election information, right? One was made by Anthropic's Claude, which said that Georgia's voter fraud allegations in 2020 were a complex political issue and didn't actually point out that numerous official reviews verified Biden's victory, right?
yeah.
And then Meta's Llama 2 actually said that voters in California could cast their ballots by text message, which not true. And on the other side, it said that GPT-4 said
Yeah.
that it's acceptable to vote in Texas while wearing a politically aligned apparel, right? So it said um, Texas law does not prohibit voters from wearing political apparel at the polls, which obviously not true. And so, it's already infiltrated maybe the one of the most sacred institutions of any society, which is democracy, the voting process.
I thought you were about to say Fortnite because remember the Fortnite videos with Obama, Biden, and Trump actually playing the game, the voiceover for there is pretty damn amazing. So,
Yeah,
so what quality are we talking about here when it comes to their voice AI? Pretty accurate. Like
right. I mean, there's people that do impressions that if you didn't know any better, you would think was the person. So,
they're pretty spot on. Like, and it's not that hard to do it. Like,
right,
I'm not saying that I can do it uh accurately, but at least I can make a semblance of it. Like over the phone with signals that are actually not that clear. You could probably fake one.
right.
But the
But
thing about this is with technology, I think there's a misconception that technology, in terms of making our lives much easier,
mhm.
people tend to get lazy. But this, I think, this is the more of the time that we should be vigilant regarding it. Like people
That
should just be much more discerning. Like having conveniences, like imagine this thing. I imagine this thing could actually be used for creating audiobooks, right? That would
right,
be one way to utilize it. Mm.
right,
But then again, you should actually know because not a lot of people who purchase consumer grade stuff actually know about these watermarks. And anything shared online wouldn't actually have a watermark. So what is OpenAI gonna do? Are they gonna be sharing this proprietary software with the US government and just letting the US government have a whack at this? Like
right.
they tried with Apple before with their passcodes,
Yeah,
with Apple security. Like this is pretty similar stuff. So
yeah. And it's again, and I feel like we always go back to this on this podcast is that it's about education, right? Like it doesn't matter if it's on X, if it's on Facebook, if you Google it, if you've seen it on Instagram, it doesn't matter. You shouldn't these days. You literally cannot take anything at face value. Like you just can't. If you get a phone call from Joe Biden that says if you vote for me, I'll give you $20,000. Like while you may want to believe it, you can't just you know what I mean? Like think for
yeah,
yourself. So, all these things that we have, social media, even campaigns, politicians lie right to your face, and you have to discern whether or not you believe this person. So, voice, AI generated voice, I mean, that's no different than a man staring you in your face and telling you, I will do this. Like, one could argue that it's worse. You're in person face to face, and they say, yes, I will absolutely lower taxes. And then they have no intention of lowering taxes.
yeah, and in this age where people are still being victimized by Nigerian prince email scams,
Yeah.
like in 2019, that damn scam actually raked in $700,000 worth of scam money. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past against people being victimized by this.
Of course,
So
yeah. I mean, you watch I don't know if you watch you know who Pierogi is
pierogi,
from Scammer Payback?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like dude, I mean, he's got hours and hours and hours of content and so many people are fooled by these things.
He made more money than the scammers just on
Yeah.
YouTube content alone.
Yeah. I mean, they did the glitter bombs, like they're taking down like entire operations like
Yeah,
over
that was their joint operation, Mark Rober, right?
I think they did some work with Rober. They do some work with these other two guys too. The one dude that looks like he's straight out of a Schwarzenegger movie. He's like Russian or something. His hair he's all jacked with his I can't think of it right now and I don't want to look it up, but yeah, it's him and some like it's like
The
Jake
one
and the Man.
episode with the cockroaches,
Mm.
cockroach bomb.
But yeah, I mean these things are, scams are here. Scams are effective or they wouldn't do it. Um, is this I to my point basically about this entire topic and this discussion is I don't it's a new way of it's a new way of doing an old trick. You know what I mean? So like, and if you delay it for this one, it's going to be bigger and badder in 4 years. So what's even the point?
And people have not gotten smarter into getting away from these things because
Right.
sometimes it screams opportunities for them.
The only difference is, I think, and um, in so no matter who wins this coming election, right, whether it be Biden or Trump, um, in 2028, neither, well, Trump could, I guess, if he loses, or if either one loses, Biden's not going to be alive. But basically, whoever wins this one can't win again.
You know what's so surprising to me? Like over the past 20 years, like elections come and go. The US has never had any official any executive position that has been tech centric or is a bit tech savvy. In an age where everything is actually driven by it,
Right.
it feels like everyone sitting in the positions that can actually make a decision regarding what we're talking about right now is not pretty savvy on it. And most that are actually expert on it is on the other side of the aisle being interrogated.
Well, I think the only person that even comes close to checking that box is RFK, just because he has he has embraced the power of the podcast. Like you don't see Trump on podcasts, you definitely don't see Biden on no podcast. I don't know how many podcasts RFK's done. He's done a lot, and he said it like his dad or his uncle or one of the I don't know if it was John or Robert or who it was. The older generation, but they utilized what was the new like television or something like he was like, oh yeah, they were the
Yeah.
first to campaign like on TV or whatever the fuck it was.
You can say
So he's
pretty much
embracing podcasts.
Obama was one before, but he just utilized social media for his campaigns, not necessarily for his policies, and
Yeah,
actually integrated technology on it. Like he's pretty much shied away from that over his past two terms.
right. Well,
So
he was at kind of the brink of social media. Like it wasn't what it is today. And I mean, we know Biden doesn't even tweet. You know what I'm saying? That's like
oh, please no.
that's you know that's like that's the most basic of
Could we
technology.
have could we have him just stop using TikTok, please?
Yeah. Well, we're not going to get political because
Yeah.
I mean it's gross and there's no right answer. Um,
That's why I think these AI stuff is actually gonna drag on until someone is actually sitting in that position that actually can understand, or at least is I don't know if it's the correct term, but someone that's a futurist that
right.
actually thinks. I don't know if it is the correct term, but someone that actually thinks ahead and can actually understand the nuances in these upcoming technologies. AI has been with us, what, for the better part of almost 3 years now. Some have been in
This level,
development
yeah.
2010. Like by now, there should have been a firm grasp on it. Had the government actually anticipated how much this thing could actually elevate things for everyone.
Yeah.
And the entire voice thing, it's if you think about it, it's pretty basic.
It is. I mean, it's like we mentioned a minute ago. It's like this is no different than somebody that does a really good impression.
Yeah,
If
so
you hit the right person, you hit grandma, she don't know if it's Joe Biden or not.
yeah, so I guess for my end, this is just it's a bit of a flex for them to actually we're gonna be banned because we're so accurate.
I hadn't looked at it that way, but it is kind of a flex. It is. It's an unnecessary. It's one of those like I don't know. It's like one of those precautions that's like an unnecessary precaution.
And I don't even know their basis for judging if a voice impersonation of someone is actually pretty accurate. Like I don't know how they judge it.
I mean, I've seen some videos online, like I've seen some Joe Rogan stuff. It does sound like it, but to anyone that is familiar with the cadence, then you kind of pick up that something's off.
Yeah.
But they're not targeting, or they would not be targeting people like us. They would target the elderly, and the misinformed, or maybe those people that just
Not
want.
necessarily because they're gullible, but sometimes because they're hard of hearing or
Yeah. Not because, yeah, absolutely not.
cognitive capabilities are actually impaired because of age.
Yeah, just yeah, not because they're stupid, but because they're ignorant.
I
Like,
think that's
like, well, it's not like stupid is
that's
just
even worse.
no, but like ignorant as in just not knowing, right? It's
Not
not because
uninformed.
yeah, it's not because you can't know, it's because you don't know,
It's hard to
right?
believe that people, let's say our grandparents, are actually sitting on their asses just reading social media. I think some do, but not
Yeah,
necessarily everyone.
yeah, no, not at
A
all.
huge percent, I think.
But yeah, but alrighty, man. Well, today's actually a pretty big day for the Tech Times Daily podcast. We have a sponsor.
Hmm.
Yeah, so we've been sent over this for a new company, and this is really hard to believe, but we did the research, checked it out. It's seems legit from what I've looked at. So yeah, yeah, for today's sponsored segment, it's by Telecargo, and they're revolutionizing the way goods are transported in the 21st century. Um, are you tired of waiting days, even weeks, for your shipments to arrive? Well, say goodbye to shipping delays and hello to instant delivery with Telecargo. State-of-the-art teleportation technology allows businesses like yours to transport goods anywhere in the world in the blink of an eye. Imagine the possibilities. No more inventory, sitting idle in warehouses, no more missed deadlines due to shipping delays. With Telecargo, your products arrive exactly when and where you need them on time every time. But it's not just about speed, it's about sustainability too. So why wait? And experience the future of logistics with Telecargo. You can visit their website and learn more and schedule your first Telecargo portation.
Hmm.
All right. So yeah, that's a
Delivery
milestone.
by teleportation.
Yeah,
Smugglers beware. You now have competition.
yeah. I'm sure I went to their website. There's a lot of information about, it's a lot of sign up stuff, a lot of, put your name here, put your name there, business numbers and all that stuff. But I mean, it's very, 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 very interesting,
Very in the future.
very in the future. But yeah, well, that wraps up today's edition. Um, but we'll be back next time with more insightful discussions on the latest things that's happening in tech. Until then, stay curious, stay connected. For Christian Harris, I'm Chris Short. See you next time.
Happy April Fools, everyone.